Hello everybody, my name is Asian Psycho, aka Toto Sniper 98, and this commentary is going to be about Call of Duty Ghosts and why I think this game is basically a corporate, almost like a scam kind of thing. And before I proceed with the commentary, I just like to let you know that some things I talk about in this video I am taking from other people's arguments and other people's discussion, so to speak. I will link videos that I have taken information from, for example, like Total Biscuits, What the Fuck Is, or WTF Is, technically speaking, a video on the Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer video, so I will link that one down below. And if I feel like, or rather, if I find that I am referencing anything else, I will also link those links down in the description below as well. But again, I would like to say that I am not trying to bash on Call of Duty Ghosts as a game. The commentary is not about the game, but rather the I guess the background of the game as far as industry and other things are concerned. So if you came to this video thinking that I'm going to be actually reviewing the game or anything like that, you will be sorely disappointed. So I'm sorry about that. This commentary isn't exactly about that. But what I will be talking about is what I mentioned earlier, how I think Call of Duty Ghosts is basically a massive scam-like kind of thing that the Call of Duty fans are being put under, I guess, for lack of a better term. So here's why I think that. First of all, let's talk about how what the people have been saying, you know, fans of Call of Duty and other critiquers of the game itself, if critiquers is even a word. And if you were to look at, you know, what people have been saying, a lot of people have been not so positive about the game itself. They've been saying that there's a lot of problems with the game as of right now, and in my experience, or in my personal analysis of watching, you know, other YouTubers' videos, other first impression videos by people like, you know, Drifter, Woody's Gamertag, and among other YouTubers, I've discerned that the general sentiment is that while people still like the game and, you know, still support it, there are a lot more people than usual that think that Ghost is actually kind of a disappointment this time around. And even then, among the people who actually like it, it seems like one of the only reasons why they still do like it, still do like Call of Duty Ghosts, is because of the simple fact that it's a new game. I mean, at the time of making this commentary, Call of Duty Ghosts only came out, what day is today? November 6th. So it only came out yesterday, technically speaking. So right now, obviously, at the time of making this video, Call of Duty Ghosts is a very, very, very new game in the eyes of a lot of people, and, you know, the fact that they like it because it's a new game, you know, obviously makes sense. And going a little bit further into detail about why people don't like the game, people have been complaining that, you know, you just die really quick in the game. You know, the maps are a little bit too large, like too huge for a normal standard 6v6. And in previous Call of Duties, we've seen that, you know, all the maps are reasonably sized. You know, some Call of Duties have bigger maps than others, clearly, and those are kind of like the outlier maps. You know, I guess Modern Warfare 2 had Derail, I think was the name of that snow map, where it was really big, and one of the DLC maps, I forget what it was called. It looked kind of Rust, but it was really big, and I don't know what it was called because I never bought Modern Warfare 2 DLC. And let's see, what are some other big maps? You guys probably know, because if you're watching, you're probably a Call of Duty fan too. So, but in Ghosts, it seems like basically every single map, except for a few of them out there, are very, very large. And even though I haven't touched multiplayer just yet, even though I'm going to very soon, just watching live streams of people streaming Call of Duty Ghosts and watching videos from people who are, you know, posting YouTube videos of Call of Duty Ghosts, it definitely seems like the maps are absurdly large for a standard 6v6, standard to a lot what, you know, most Call of Duty players are used to. Except if you're a PC and you play Nuketown Forever all day on Black Ops 2, that you don't count. But besides that, the maps are definitely too large, and I think that's one of the biggest arguments that I can make in this commentary. The reason why I think these absurdly large maps are key to understanding why Call of Duty Ghosts is a scam, for lack of a better term. I don't want to call Ghosts a complete scam, but it's definitely an industrial, or definitely a corporate conspiracy, so to speak, is because of the fact that, as you guys probably know, in the coming month, this month or next month or whenever, I don't really follow console news, but Xbox One and PS4, the new next gen consoles, will be hitting markets, and the reason why is because I've seen in the comment section before in some YouTube videos, and I definitely agree with those people. It's been said that the reason why there are a lot of absurdly large maps in Call of Duty Ghosts is because Activision, or the new next gen console companies like Sony and what was it, Microsoft? Doesn't Microsoft produce Xboxes? I don't fucking know. I don't follow console news, like I said. But those companies are trying to convince players, or consumers, to buy these next gen consoles, because they know that if okay, so let's backpedal a little bit. Those companies persuade, in quotes, persuade the developers of Call of Duty Ghosts to put in a lot of large maps, to make it so that the game runs as if you die in an instant, whereas you take what you need to take 5 shots to kill another person, like Woody's gamertag said in his first impressions video. He said that the Call of Duty Ghosts feels like one of those games where you have to take like 3 seconds to kill someone, whereas you die in a blink of an eye. And on top of that, with the maps being so large, because of the companies persuading the developers of Call of Duty Ghosts to make the game like that, like in those ways, or perform that way, or ways, sorry. They're making it so that they're trying to push consumers and players and Call of Duty, like diehard Call of Duty fans, to buy the next gen consoles. On top of which, if you look at the playlists for console games, you'll notice that there's no Ground War. Ground War has been in every single Call of Duty, for consoles anyway, up till this game. And in Call of Duty Ghosts, boom, it's not there anymore. PC is a little bit different because PC is already next gen console. It's already stronger than next gen console, because PC you can build however way you want it. So calling it a console isn't really accurate, but that's besides the point. PC still has Ground War because actually, let's think about that. Why does PC have Ground War? Because companies can't control PCs. PCs are, just things that you, from a gamer standpoint, PCs, you can build them yourself. You can either go to companies and buy their pre-made PC builds, or you can just order individual parts and build it yourself if you know how to. That's why there's Ground War in PC Call of Duty Ghosts, because there's no reason to take it out of it, because there's no next-gen PC that's going to be coming out that's made by Microsoft or Sony, right? So it doesn't make sense. That's why they kept Ground War in Call of Duty Ghosts on PC. But why did they remove it from, Xbox 360 and PS3? Well, that's because the companies want you to buy Xbox One and PS4, where every single lobby will basically be like Ground War, and no one will, once Call of Duty Ghosts comes out, or once people start playing Call of Duty Ghosts on 360, or not 360, sorry, Xbox One and PS4, no one's gonna complain about the new maps anymore. Hopefully not, anyway, because all the game types will be 99, and all the maps will be just right for those 99 engagements. Right? Makes sense, kind of, doesn't it? So, it's among those reasons. Or taking these reasons into consideration, really kind of makes it evident, in my eyes anyway, that Microsoft and Sony, or whoever the companies are that are behind the publication, or the development and distribution of the new next gen consoles that are going to come out this month, or whenever they are really trying to push people to buy the next gen consoles. And it all boils down to money. Every single time, in my eyes, if there's something wrong with a game, or if there's something that people think that is wrong with the game, it ultimately boils down to money, in my opinion. Because when was it that Call of Duty first started doing those season pass things. Was it like Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 3? I don't remember. I remember buying the season pass for Black Ops 2, and maybe they first started doing that during that game. But you've noticed that there have been DLC games ever since Call of Duty 4. DLCs are meant to be not only just well, I should say on the surface, it intends for to give players a freshened gaming experience with games that have been going on for a little bit. Like DLCs come out every few months for each COD cycle, and it helps keep the game fresh. But in my eyes, from an industrial standpoint, the DLCs are there solely to give Activision and the publishing companies to I guess a little bit more pocket change. I'm not really too sure. I'm not an economics expert, nor do I claim to know a lot about what goes on behind the scenes. But this is just my hunch as a normal guy looking at the Call of Duty scene from a kind of a broad and economic standpoint. It's pretty clear that Activision and other companies have been that are related to Call of Duty. It's clear that they're trying to kind of milk as much money from the COD franchise as they can at all times. Whether it be DLCs or season passes, and now with the whole now it's escalated into, oh, we're going to make the game purposefully bad for you guys, so you have no choice but to buy the new next-gen consoles if you want to have a good gaming experience with Call of Duty Ghosts. And that is something I do not agree with at all whatsoever. I understand that these are companies we're talking about. Companies are obviously have a really, really big, upkeep cost. I don't know, maintenance costs. Yeah. A company the size of Activision obviously they're gonna need a lot of money to keep stuff running. But given the size and prestige of publishing companies like Activision and development companies like Infinity Ward and Treyarch, I don't really think going out of your way to make a game purposefully bad in order to promote the sales of the new next-gen consoles is necessary. Like, why? Why would you want to do that? And once people get the hang of, or once people start realizing that this just might be really a scam to basically persuade people to essentially force people to buy a new next-gen console in order to have a good gaming experience, it's absurd. It really is. And like I said, I understand that these companies are businesses, and in the end, a purpose of a business is to make money. But at this point, when you gain such a big fan base and such a big following that money, it's not all about the money anymore. Why do you continue to act in a way that shows, to me at least, that all you ever care about is trying to make more money? It doesn't make sense. And on top of that, let's not even mention the competitive side of Call of Duty, where the competitive guys are basically bitching over the fact that Ghosts is probably not even gonna be competitive at all. I mean, Black Ops 2 was a godsend for them, obviously, because they had a codcaster, they had competitive game types like Hardpoint, CTF. Call of Duty Ghosts doesn't even have CTF anymore. And while I'm not the biggest fan of Capture the Flag has been in every single Call of Duty since what, Modern Warfare 2? So there's no reason for them to have taken out of it so suddenly. I don't really understand why. And if it worked so well for the competitive guys, why do you hit them with a low blow and just take it out of the game entirely? I mean, at least you guys left, at least Activision left in, or sorry, not Activision, Infinity Ward left in Search and Destroy in the private matchmaking list, if it's not in the public matchmaking, which, again, another thing I don't agree with. Why do you replace S&D with SNR? But at the very least, it's still in private matchmaking. So on offline tourneys, like, or offline tourneys, or people in 8s lobbies or whatever, pro players can still play Search and Destroy. But it's really, really dumb, I think, this whole situation. To me, this Call of Duty Ghosts, there are gameplay mechanics, and there are obviously problems with Call of Duty Ghosts, but their problems is not what I want to focus on. As far as the game is concerned, I mean, yeah, sure, some people may or may not like the game. It's all up to you, but it's just the way that the game was made clearly says to me that the companies like Activision, Microsoft, and Sony are basically just in it for the money. Call of Duty Ghosts is basically made to as a precedent to force people to buy the next gen consoles. That is ultimately what I think what you should take away from this video or from this commentary, is that the bigger companies is basically trying to extort you of your money in order to use, and they're using a game. They're using the most popular console game on the planet in order to convince the most amount of people to go out and buy a next gen console as soon as it comes out. You know, obviously there are a lot of people out there who are going to buy next gen consoles on release date, not regardless. But you know, there's also a lot of other people who, you know, are kind of waiting for the next gen consoles prices to go down, and then they'll buy it, or they just might not buy it at all because they're not sure if it's worth their money. Maybe they don't know what's in store for them yet, so they'll wait and see how the next gen consoles perform, and they'll make the decision later. Some people might not even buy the next gen console at all, including me. I have no care in the world for a next gen console. I'm a horrible console player anyway. I don't know how to play console. I'm mainly PC gamer, and you know, that's what I live and that's what I do. So people like me, we don't care about, you know, next gen consoles or whatever. So what do Microsoft and Sony do? The producers of the next gen consoles do? They're trying to do everything that they can in order to convince the most amount of people to buy their next gen consoles. And what's the easiest way to do it? By making the publisher, or not the publisher, or yeah, technically the publisher and the development team of the next game of the most popular and the most successful video game franchise, or as far as consoles are concerned anyway, in the world, to purposefully make their game geared towards the next gen consoles and not for the current gen or PC players. Also, let me touch on PC Call of Duty Ghosts for a little bit as well, because Total Biscuit has, I've referenced this video earlier in the beginning of this video as well, but Total Biscuit made a WTF Is, which is kind of like his flagship series, where he basically introduces and explains and kind of critiques video games in those series. And he did one on Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer, and in that video, he basically bashes Call of Duty Ghosts for looking like a really outdated game, and just a game that clearly shows that Infinity Ward did not care about, you know, making Call of Duty Ghosts a perfectly streamlined game, at least not for the PC guys anyway. And for the most part, I would like to agree, because, you know, I'm a heavy PC guy. Like I mentioned before, I only play PC games because I don't know how to use a controller. I'm too dumb, apparently. And the fact that in Modern Warfare 3 there was no FOV slider really pissed me off. In Treyarch, on the other hand, Treyarch is a very PC friendly company. At least they tried to make the game as accommodating as it can for PC players. You know, in Black Ops 1, in Black Ops 2, they both have built-in FOV sliders. So, you know, as you probably know if you're familiar with the PC side of Call of Duty at all, you know, a lot of PC players, or the vast majority of them anyway, highly prefer to be playing on FOV at least higher than 65, because if you're playing on 65 FOV on PC, you're just gonna be sick. And that's why I hated Modern Warfare 3 at the start, because I couldn't see anything. My peripheral vision was just completely so I started playing Modern Warfare 3 again when I heard that there was an FOV slider tool that you can install and run off of in order to play Modern Warfare 3. And once I installed that, I enjoyed the game a lot more. And in Call of Duty Ghosts, there is no FOV slider again, because why? Because Infinity Ward made it, and apparently Infinity Ward hates PC. So, just like TV said, and I'd like to agree with him on that. So, I don't know. I'm not really too sure if the whole PC argument ties in with my overall argument that you know, Call of Duty Ghosts was made to try to convince people that that the next gen consoles is the way to go. But you know, I'm not surprised. I'm personally not surprised that Call of Duty Ghosts on the PC is as shitty as it is, because, or as far as I'm concerned anyway, or for as far as what I've seen, because if Infinity Ward, if Activision, if all the companies behind the next gen consoles are all concentrating on the new releases of the Xbox One or PS4, whatever the fuck they're releasing next month or in the next month, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that they would just leave PC and to a certain extent the current gen consoles under the rug in order to kind of invest in the future, so to speak. And you know why? Because they want to make more money. That's all they fucking care about. There are companies, there are businesses, they want to make money. That's understandable. But to go out of your way to actually ruin the gaming experience for a month, as current gen and PC players play Call of Duty Ghosts for a month and have to deal with the whole bullshit of large 9v9 maps that they don't have and they can't physically play on current gen consoles because there's no goddamn ground war playlist except for on PC, which sucks anyway. It's honestly very absurd to say it very lightly, and I can be very, very harsh about Infinity Ward making a really crappy game out of Ghosts. I think that Ghosts could be made a lot better if they release like smaller maps or something like that. Maybe we'll have them in the DLC. You see where this is going here? So there you go. This commentary officially is now over because I'm sick of tired of talking trash about companies that I probably should be talking trash about, because I'm sure that they're good companies. I'm sure that the guys over at Infinity Ward and Activision, whatever, have worked very, very hard in order to make this game successful as they can. However, I just feel like there are ulterior motives that are the reasons why Call of Duty Ghosts is not the blowout or not the the hyped game that Call of Duty fans worldwide have been expecting. I think for the most part there's a greater amount of people with Call of Duty Ghosts that have been disappointed with how Ghosts have turned out, and that is uncalled for. This is completely unnecessary. If Infinity Ward just made the game for the players, for the fans, because if you're not gonna make a game for the fans, why make a game to begin with? If for a game that has such an established fan base such as Call of Duty, you can't deny that. You can't just go out of your way and say, oh, we're gonna make a complete new Call of Duty game that we think is gonna blow out, just gonna wow everyone everywhere, and we're just gonna ditch everything that worked for all the other Call of Duties and just go in a straight path. You can't really do that. You just really can't. And just because the next gen consoles are coming out is not an excuse for big name publishers to go to Infinity Ward, and I don't know what they did to them, but I'm pretty sure they talked together or they interacted in such a way that the big name companies like Microsoft and Activision and Sony, either goaded, persuaded, or maybe even forced Infinity Ward to make Ghosts the way it is now, right now. And honestly, if that's what really happened, then the public needs to know about that. The public needs to know that Ghosts was not the game that was meant to be made. And if that is certainly the case, then that tells me at least that the greed of corporate companies, it has just gone too far. We need to have some limitations on what companies can and can't do when it comes to such a popular title as Call of Duty. I'm sure Activision knows this, and I'm sure that those companies knew this and took a risk with Call of Duty Ghosts in order to turn the game into a mechanism where they can kind of push people towards buying next-gen consoles. But I think in the end they decided that it was a calculated risk, and it was a risk that would pay off in the long run, because their reason, in my opinion, like I said, Call of Duty Ghosts is the only reason, or is the game that they decide to choose in order to kind of subconsciously promote the next gen consoles by telling people, by having a game or making a game that kind of makes people think inside their heads, oh, I don't enjoy Call of Duty Ghosts on this console, and oh, the next gen console are coming out, and they said that, you know, there's always going to be all these good things for, you know, Call of Duty on the next gen consoles. Maybe when I buy a next gen console, it'll be better. So if they make people think in such a way, you know, and have a lot more people buy it, you know, that's what they want, that's what they care for, and that's what they've been working towards. And although it's understandable from a business standpoint, from a player and a fan of Call of Duty standpoint, that's not good. That's not good at all. You are basically ruining a game for a little bit more money that you could probably easily make if you just made it for the goddamn fans. Don't make it as, don't be so arrogant as giving credit to Total Biscuit here. Do not show like this kind of corporate arrogance that you know what you're doing and that the public is just downright stupid and you can just ignore what everyone else says and just go off doing your own thing. That's not good, because if you do that, you'll eventually start losing fans. People, if even fans of Call of Duty, will realize, hey look, there's something going wrong here. Maybe we should stop supporting this company because we think those companies are asshats. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm going to go so far as to say that Call of Duty Ghosts is the downfall of, or the tipping point where Call of Duty loses its title as the flagship console title of, or at least the flagship title for first-person shooters on consoles anyway, as next-gen consoles come out. You know, we've got games like Titanfall, we've got other first-person shooter games that I don't really know. Well, Titanfall is the only one that I can think of right now. Oh, right, Destiny. You know, we've got Destiny coming out next year, I think, maybe 2 years, I don't know. We've definitely got Titanfall coming out next year, so that's, people have been hyped up towards it for that. And honestly, I think that Call of Duty Ghosts has a very possible chance to represent, or Call of Duty Ghosts rather, has a very big chance, or very real chance, to represent the final downfall of Call of Duty. You know, people have been saying like, oh, Call of Duty's dying, Call of Duty is the same thing over and over, I'm not gonna buy it this year. But I think this time around, people have a legitimate excuse not to buy Call of Duty, and it's completely understandable now. Before, it was like, oh, you're just saying, in my opinion, before, when people said, oh, I'm not gonna buy Call of Duty because it's the same thing over and over, I just think, well, that's just because you're jumping on the bandwagon of being some elitist, you know, asshole who doesn't, you know, who's only saying I'm not gonna buy Call of Duty because, you know, people they think it's so overrated, and, you know, Call of Duty is just a cash cow. And have that is true, definitely, and maybe Call of Duty is overrated, but still, it was a good game, it was fun, I played it and I enjoyed it until Call of Duty Ghosts. And if if you think that you're not gonna buy Call of Duty for any of the reasons stated above, I can be a little bit more understanding, because Ghosts is honestly not really that good, and I'm actually kind of dreading dipping into multiplayer myself, because first of all, I have to play it on PC, second of all, PC sucks, so, and third of all, I'm probably not gonna have a good time. So at least not until the FOV slider comes out, which, by the way, Infinity Ward courteously filed a lawsuit against the website that made the FOV slider tool, because, hey, guess what? They're Infinity Ward. They don't like anyone tampering with their software, do they? So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video / commentary, and it's, I don't know. Hope maybe you guys do share my opinion. Maybe you guys think that I'm just someone who's full of shit. Maybe, you know, regardless of what you say, I still believe that Call of Duty Ghosts is a massive either scam or campaign by the publishers and the big name corporations that are producing the next gen consoles. Is a massive campaign that no one knows about, that they are trying to pull in order to pull more people into buying the next gen consoles. It's all about the next gen consoles, obviously, because the next gen consoles will be around with us for like another 10 years or something like that, right? So obviously they've got to make a big commitment and start off strong and not weak, not unlike Call of Duty Ghosts anyway. Again, I've kind of dabbled on for a little bit too long now. Thank you guys very much for watching. Maybe you do support my opinion, maybe you don't. Regardless, this is what I have to say. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you guys later.